I never see myself going to college, let alone pursuing higher education. So growing up without a father, I was always seeking that love and that attention from the streets. Eventually that led me to join a gang, which eventually led me to prison. And that's how I started my criminal career, which eventually, upon my release from prison, I paroled, and I just knew I had to get a job because I had to get my parole officer off my back. So I went to Homeboy Industries, which is a nonprofit that help those that have been formerly incarcerated. I met a counselor by the name of Brittany, and eventually one day she asked me, "Adrian, would you like to go with me? I'm going to East LA College." I've never been to college, I've never been to a regular high school, let alone I'm gonna come to college, because I got my GED in prison. And sure enough, I felt awkward, especially being a non-traditional student coming from that background. But yeah, sure enough, I came and I started my journey. Throughout the process, it was very hard. And Mr. Castro, when I took his class, he would always emphasize the importance of higher education. But in order for us to transfer, we would have to be part of clubs. Eventually, I became part of student government for a little bit. And as I became part of student government, I got to understand a little bit about different resources from campus. And then eventually I started a club on campus for formerly incarcerated. And the club that I started at that time was known as Homeboy Scholars. And that club went on. It went on for quite a while. And eventually on the process, I had a setback where I ended up dropping out of school. I ended up going back to prison. Well, mind you, when I was in prison, I had already gave up. I'm like, I'm not going back to school. School's not for me. I tried it. It was a great experience. But maybe people like me don't have that support. Maybe people like me don't belong in higher education. I was done. I'm like, I'm never going back to college. But when I got out and I was working at Homeboys, as I started growing and I started doing, I was being part of a lot of self-help groups, they had asked me to start facilitating some of the groups. So they seen a certain change in me for them to trust me and allow me to run some of the groups. So I started running some of the groups. I started thinking in order for me to be more effective, in order for me to be able to give back to a lot of these young men, I gotta really further educate myself. I came back, I enrolled, and I walked to the hallway and I seen the room number, I seen Dr. Kayla. I looked at her and I was a little bit intimidated because she looked strict. So sure enough, she gave me that opportunity and I enrolled. And next thing you know, I just started coming and I started just being involved,
His first writing was really, I don't know, there was something about his first writing. I use a book called The Mastery of Love from Don Miguel Ruiz, and the students write their personal stories based on that book. But there was something about him, and I really was curious. I just walked up to him and I said, do you want to talk? And he was very taken aback because of his background. And we started to talk, and then we started to meet every week. So we meet at 10 o'clock or 9:45 every Tuesday, every Thursday. So I've just been trying to guide him, keep him on the narrower path, and be supportive without judgment. So that's kind of how we developed our relationship. And now it's, he does his work, he turns in everything on time. I don't cut anybody any slack in that department, but we're growing this mentor-mentee relationship right now.
So when I started applying to these schools, I started just thinking, let me just apply for the heck of it. Life's short, you never know what happens, what's the worst they could tell you, no. So I applied, and next thing you know, I started hearing from the UC. First I heard from Santa Cruz, I get in, next thing you know, Santa Barbara. And then on the 22nd, I remember I was up at midnight waiting for Berkeley. I go into the portal, and it said congratulations, and I was shocked. I'm like, all right, well, let me see how much how much they're gonna charge me. Let me just take a look at it. And when I seen the amount that they were giving me in gift aids and the tuition, I was shocked. I'm like, damn, like I couldn't believe it. I came and I showed Dr. K. She was the first person that I shared with, you know, and she was happy. She was happy for me. And she was like, go talk to a counselor, because that's what it appears like you got a full ride. And I went and I talked to my counselor, and he was like, yeah, like you got a full ride, you know. Like I said, I wasn't planning on going, you know, but the fact that I got a full ride, you know, it's a one in a lifetime opportunity, you know. No matter what, it doesn't matter if you try to live a perfect life, like you're gonna experience a lot of setbacks, a lot of failures, a lot of negativity, a lot of criticism. But as long as you stay focused, you do things for the right reason, and you stay on course, even if you fall, just get back up and don't give up, and you have a good heart, then everything in due time is gonna line up.